I'm joined today by Sheenagh McCullagh, a past president of the ISIA, and not only the first female elected as vice president and president of the ISIA, but as far as I know, also the first elected female representative of our membership. Sheenagh, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really looking forward to taking this trip down memory lane with you and chatting about your time in office as a representative of the ISIA membership.
Thanks, Sarah. It's great to talk to you again. And thank you so much for inviting me. I'm delighted to join you in what is the 50th anniversary of the ISIA. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you here, Sheenagh. Thank you so much. And to mark, as you say, the 50th anniversary of the association, it's such a long history, and we're really keen to mark the various milestones of the association, and certainly being the first female president was a big milestone. Sheenagh, if I can take you back to when you first started as a vice chair of the electronic division and had a seat then on the Council of Management, what led you to get involved as a representative of the electronic division as vice chair and then as chair?
Thanks, Sarah. I suppose, back at the time, we knew very little about the ISIA and what it did from our own company perspective. So I was keen to understand more about that and how the ISIA could benefit both the business that I worked for, the member company, and also, the wider electronic division, because I understood at the time we were going through some, fairly significant legislative changes within the industry. So I felt that, it was really important for the electronic division to have a singular voice, and I was happy to put myself forward into that role.
And it's so wonderful that you did and that you saw it that way, because I often say to members, the ISIA is your company. Collectively, all of the companies together are what make up the ISIA. And the best way to play a part in that is to take on a role and really drive the association in the direction that is needed. So it's the perfect way, and it's the perfect reason to get involved. When you think about it, then how did that benefit you, and more importantly, how did it benefit the ISIA member that you were employed with at the time?
Well, it had huge benefits for both me and the company that I worked for, in terms of, I was able to communicate those really difficult issues that we were having as a business, but we also understand that we weren't alone. We understood that all of the companies within that division were having the same issues. So then to sort of share those, what the issues were, to get some feedback. It's, as I said, the singular voice about, how we communicate to the wider, whether it's the end user or whether it's the legislative bodies. It's much better to do that as a group rather than as the individual. And that's also, reassuring to hear that lots of other businesses are having the same issues as yourself. So it was hugely beneficial.
Absolutely. The collaboration that goes on between ISA member companies, and that sharing of knowledge, and there's a lot of learning that happens between member companies. And then when there is a challenge that members are encountering, to go and tackle that as a collective voice rather than an individual voice it's very powerful. Sheenagh, the move...
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
The move to vice president and then on to president, did that seem like a big jump in commitment? What made you want to take that leap from representing the electronic members to representing the full membership of the ISIA?
Well, it was a huge learning curve for me. I only understood one element of the security division at the time, so it was a big learning curve, and it was a learning curve that I was willing and very happy to take on to try and understand the different elements within the sectors, and then the different issues that those different sectors come up to. And although it seems like a lot, it wasn't a huge leap. It was more of a sort of kind of a move into that it was a natural move as opposed to a leap. And I mean, I enjoyed my time in electronics, so it was definitely the next move for me. So I was very excited to do it, and I was working with you, so of course it was a natural move for me.
Well, thank you, Sheenagh. And there was so much that we did, just not only when you were vice president and then president, but also when you were chair of the electronic division. I was looking over some of the membership updates from that period, and thinking about the roadshow that we did. There was some legislative change that was happening that affected the electronic division, and we did a roadshow across the country, running seminars to get that message out to other electronic companies outside of the ISIA, and also the end users of security services. And I also looked back at the awards and the time that went into it. So it was a time.
Yes, it was very exciting,
but an enjoyable one.
Yes, definitely.
And and when you, which leads nicely into my next question. Obviously, when you're taking on a role, say as chair or as vice chair or president or vice president, you're representing an ISIA member company, but it's you, Sheenagh, that's making the personal commitment. So what did you personally gain from being in those roles and being president of the ISIA?
It's a huge learning curve. And so I gained a huge amount of knowledge about the industry as a whole, and about, the stakeholders that deal with the industry, the government bodies, the Department of Justice, the PSA. Those are huge learning curves for me as an individual. And, it was a super time. And there was also a huge amount of networking that we did during that time, both you and I, Sarah. So it was a great personal development for me. Yeah, and it was, it was a lovely experience for me. I never encountered any bad will, whether because you are, any issues in that time. So it was a lovely time. It was a great time.
Yeah, and if I was to look back on your presidency, Sheenagh, I'm not surprised that you're left with that feeling. It was a really productive presidency, and an enjoyable period, and I think it was a period also of transition and change in the industry, and we were delighted to have you as part of that. One of the drivers for having this conversation today, as opposed to any other day, was we're approaching International Women's Day, and we wanted to mark that with an interview with the ISIA's first female elected representative and first female president. Since you were in those positions, Sheenagh, fortunately, we've had several other women elected as representatives of the ISIA. I think in total about 5. And we now currently have not only a female president, but a female president and a female vice president, which is so wonderful. What did it mean to you?
Fantastic.
Isn't it? Oh, it is magnificent. What did it mean to you to be that trailblazer And how significant do you think it has been for the private security industry?
Well, the second part of the question first. I mean, I think just your stats that you've stated there. I think that has been significant. There was no females in the industry when I went into those roles within the ISIA, because it's quite a traditional industry. It was very male dominated. So it was really important to take that step. But, that step then hopefully has made it easier for other women to actually to do that. And in my role in HR, I also think it's really, really important to promote women and to push for them to do the best they do within the sector. It's a much better sector when it has a gender balance.
Absolutely. And, I think all the literature would point to business units in whatever industry they may be perform so much better when there is gender balance. It just brings about so many real business benefits. And it's something that our members are really prioritizing. They want to see more women coming into the industry. And let's face it, we all do what we see. We learn from what we see. So, we're very grateful to you for being a part of that and serving as a representative within the ISIA. I do think it has been significant. Having...
Yes, thank you.
Oh, no, I mean, I really, really do think it has been significant. Having spent several years representing a division of the ISIA, and then going on to represent the full membership as both vice president and then as president. And that was 4 years alone, 2 years as vice president and 2 as president. So, you've spent quite a number of years on the ISIA's Council of Management. When you look back, what do you think an organization like the ISIA provides for its industry?
Well, it's been around a long time, so it has great value, and it provides representation across all of the security sectors that allows for this single voice to be heard about the needs of the industry. And that you can't underestimate. It's really important. It also, it provides a one-stop shop for end users of security services. So that's also really important to the general public. The ISIA has a long established history. And it has been an absolute privilege for me to have served on that. To have played a small part in that history. And, I am delighted to be here talking to you today about it, but I'm also delighted to have done what I did, and I think the ISIA has been around for 50 years, and it'll be around for the next 50.
Absolutely, Sheenagh, and it's such a significant and positive collective of organizations, and it gives that single voice, and there's strength in these many companies coming together to drive forward the needs of the industry and to try and achieve the objectives of the industry. Sheenagh, it has been such a pleasure to speak with you today, and thank you so much for joining us. It was important to talk to you as our first female president, but over the coming year, we'll be marking the ISIA's 50th anniversary by speaking to so many past presidents who together have contributed to the many milestones of the ISIA's history. So please do keep an eye out for future podcasts. But for now, Sheenagh McCullagh, thank you so much for joining us today.